Hello and welcome to Upstack America's Oracle EBS Financials Functional Training. My name is Bob and I'm the lead senior consultant for Upstack America. And with me today I have Victor, who is also a senior consultant. And today we are handling lesson 19 of accounts payables. And Victor, please walk us through.
Thank you, Bob, for the introduction, and welcome everybody to this session in our Oracle Financials Functional Training Series. In this session, we are still looking at how to pay multiple invoices. Particularly, we are looking at the pay run process. We already did an example in our previous session, so we are going to continue from there. Just a bit of a reminder of the payment process request. That's the navigation of how we get to the window where we create a payment process request. We know a payment process request, we run it in order to pay multiple invoices. And before we run, as part of the payment process request, some of the information we have to enter is invoice selection criteria. So we usually enter, these are some of the invoice selection criteria that you can have so that the scheduled payments can be selected, which will go for further processing to be paid. All right, so that's just a bit of a reminder. So we already ran one payment process request, okay, in our previous session. So let's actually go to Oracle, and we are going to see where we left off from, okay? Let me make sure that this is a current session. So we go to Maskani Developers Payables Manager, or whichever responsibility that you're using yourself. So I will go to Payments, Entry, then Payments Manager. Now, as you can see already here, we talked about this, that when we run a payment process request and it is successfully completed, then it will go to this payments dashboard as need action. So we have one request that needs action already in the system, and that should be the one that we created and submitted in our previous session. All right, so we need to take the next step from there. So if you click this, and as you can see, here is the payment process request that we ran. We looked at some of the details about this payment process request. And you can see the status here. It says formatted and ready for printing. Okay, so all we need to do from this point on is to go and confirm that everything is okay. Now, sorry about that. Let's go back to the home page first. Just wanted to open this form so that I can go to the SRS screen. This is the request that this is the payment instruction that was produced when we did our payment process request. Okay, and we looked at it in our session, in our previous session. So once you look at this output, we said that this is what is going to go on your check leaf, okay, or on your check stock. So for now, we have one check that was, or one check report that was printed out, a check for $80 paying Mjengo Construction Materials. So this is one check because these two invoices are pointing to the same vendor. So Oracle logic goes that since they're going to the same vendor, you'll just put these two invoice amounts together, 50 plus 30, 80, write one check of $80. Now, if you're running a pay run and you have scheduled payments that are going to multiple suppliers or vendors, then your check report could have multiple pages, right, for each check that is going to be run, right? So maybe, for example, we have Mjengo Construction Materials, and then you have another one for another supplier and another one. So you could have up to like maybe 15 checks that are going to be printed and sent out to the vendors as payment. So once you run the payment process request, and then this payment instruction or this check report is produced, so you come here and you look at it and you ensure that everything that is on this check report is accurate or has been produced correctly, okay? So once you confirm that this check report is good, then you can go ahead and confirm. So at this point in the payment process, we saw that the status says that everything is ready and formatted. The payment instruction has been formatted and is ready for printing on the check leaves that now you're going to send out to the suppliers. So at this moment, the invoices or the scheduled payments that have been selected by this payment process request to be paid, they are locked, right? So what does that mean? For example, you cannot select those invoices to be canceled, all right? So once you confirm, then they have not yet been paid, but once you confirm, then those payments now will be confirmed as paid. If you terminate, then those invoices they are like unlocked and they become available again in the system, and you can run another payment process request. But in order for that to happen, you have to terminate this payment process request. Now, just another thing about this check report, okay? So the way this writings or the way the outlay of this particular report we have already discussed is usually determined by the format which you select when you're setting up your bank accounts, okay? So let's quickly go to Oracle and go to setup payment bank accounts. Maskani, yes, go. Okay. So we select that, and we can go to manage payment documents. So as you can see here, we have this format, standard check format. All right. So if I can find that. So the outlay of this check report is determined by this format here that we selected when we were defining our bank and bank accounts, our bank accounts to be specific. Okay. Now, maybe people will have, maybe various companies or clients will have different outlays of check leaves. Okay. So you can change the format of this report to fit how your check leaf looks like. Okay, so if your check leaf doesn't look like this, whereby the date is up here, and then maybe the amount in figures is here, and then the amount in words is like that, then you can format this. You can change this format to fit your needs. All right, so how do you do that? Let me go back to sorry. So yeah, this is what I wanted. So this is what I wanted to show you. We have this standard check format, which is determining how that report, check report, is comes out of the system, the outlay. So if this is not what you want to use, then you can change it. All right. So let us see how you can change that. So we follow this navigation, setup, payment, then payment administrator. When you come to this page, which is owned by Oracle Payments, you will see this option here. You'll see formats. You will have XML publisher format templates, and you will have formats. All right. So let's first go to this formats option. All right. And let's look at that particular format that we are using in our bank account, which is standard check format. All right. So this is the standard check format right here. Okay. We can go ahead and update this standard check format if we click on this update button. So this format, it contains two particular features. All right. So one, it has this data extract called Oracle Payments Funds Disbursement Payment Instruction Extract. This data extract, it determines the data elements that are produced on the report. So let's go back to our report, right? So it will determine what is displayed on this check report, which is going to be printed on your check leaf. All right, so like the data elements are like the amount in words, the payee address, the date. I believe this is the document number, the check leaf number, right? Up here, we also have a date, and I think this is a supplier number. So all these data elements that are present here on this check report are determined by this data extract, okay? However, the way they are arranged on the page, keep losing where that report is. So the way they are arranged on this page, right? So the positioning of maybe this amount in figures, the positioning of this date, that is determined by the XML publisher template. All right. So if we want to change how maybe this for a report looks like to fit the check leaves that we have, or the check stock that we have, what we can do is we can change this XML publisher template, or we can update it. Okay, so let me click cancel here, and let's go back. So now we know what the format is, and we know what the XML publisher format templates are. So if we go here to the format, XML publisher format templates, and search for the name standard. Now the template also has the same name as the format, all right? So you can see this is the template itself, all right? And you can also see other details about it, like the application it belongs to. It belongs to Oracle Payments. So if we click on this, you get to this page, all right? Now, if we want to change the template, all right, we can. This is the one that comes with the system, the seeded one. So with the format, this is the template that comes attached with it, all right? So if we want to create our own, and we can see here there are already users who have done it and added their own templates here. All right. So what we can do, for example, is download this seeded one, okay, and then we can change the layout and then re-upload it here, okay. And then once we re-upload it, we can go ahead and attach it to the format. Now let's go back to home, and let's follow that navigation again. Set up payment administrator, and let's go to formats. Let's look for standard. So this is the format. If we update here, so here we can come and change the template, XML publisher template that's attached to this particular standard check format. And once now we print, we do a new payment process run, or pay run, sorry, a payment process request, then this check report will have a different outlay. For example, maybe we can move the, just an example, we can move the address up and move the amounts below the address, something like that. Or we can remove this document number here. So whichever changes we want to make that will fit the outlay that best, that fits the checklist that we are going to print this on. So that's just something that I wanted to mention. What we were actually saying is that once we do the payment process request, we have submitted, and we need to take action. We look at this report and we make sure that everything is okay. And if it's okay, then we can submit this. We can confirm this request. And that way now those scheduled payments will be paid. So this is what we've been talking about basically. This is like the decision tree or something like that. So we have submitted payment request, all right? That's up to where we have got. So our next step in our case would be either to confirm the request if everything we have looked at in the check report is okay. If not, we can terminate the request, all right? Once we terminate the request, the invoices are released again to be selected by another pay run or to be paid through the payment window, whichever way the users would like to pay those particular invoices. So what we are going to do at the moment for ourselves, we are going to see how to terminate a payment process request. So let's go to Oracle. Let's see whether we have a tab here. Okay, just go home. So let's go to Payments Manager. So this is the dashboard. Okay, we can see our process request that needs action is still here. So if we click on this, we can go to take action. All right. So from this page, if we go back, sorry. So we can see, like I said, status is formatted and ready for printing, right? So what that means is that this is ready to be printed on a checklist, right? So that's why you have this option for the printer here, okay? But in our case, what we want to do, we don't want to go ahead and print this. Maybe we can say that we have found that we don't want to make these payments at the moment, so we are going to terminate this payment process request. Okay. We are going to talk about the printer options that you can have here. You have to put in a value because you see it says indicates required field. But once we go ahead to confirm a payment process request, we are going to talk about this. So you can just click on terminate process request. Okay, so this is the message that you get. Payment processes you terminate automatically remove associated documents. This is payments module. When they say remove associated documents, documents payable, we know documents payable is basically scheduled payments or invoices, okay, if they have just one scheduled payment. So what they're saying is that once you terminate this request, the documents are returned to the source product. So the scheduled payments right now are like they are selected payments which are ready to be paid. But once we terminate this, they are going to go back to be scheduled payments in like payables world, and that means that to be paid, you'll have to submit a new payment process request. So that's basically what I was explaining. That once you terminate this payment process request, then the invoices become available again for payment. So we want to terminate this. Yes. All right. So once we do that, then you get all this information. All right. But we have basically terminated that request, and our invoices are now ready to be picked up by another payment process. So if we go back home and go to Payments Manager again, you can see that under Need Action, the value goes back to 0. Okay. So we are up to this part in the decision tree. Okay. Once you terminate the request, you will have these two options, which will determine your course of action. So sometimes you could terminate the request, and maybe you had already printed the check report on a check leaf, all right? So if that has happened, then there are some actions that you need to take. What are those actions that you need to take? For one, remember that we said when we were creating our account, we entered the number of leaves in that check stock, right? And we entered the first document number, maybe check leaf number 1, and that check stock is going to check leaf maybe number 1000, all right? So those numbers, they correspond to actual physical checks, right? So if you have 1000 check leaves, maybe if this is the first check stock you're using, so the first check leaf will be check leaf number 1. And so the system tracks those check leaves to know which check leaf has been used to pay a particular invoice, all right? So if you had that check report had been printed when you are terminating your request, then according to Oracle, then a particular check leaf has been used to pay the invoice, even though that's not true. All right. So you have to go and update that information to show that this particular check leaf has been used, although it was used erroneously. so that when you're doing your next printing, the physical check number matches with the system check number. Okay. So I just wanted to let you know, because of these other 2 points in this flow of actions. However, we are going to see how to do that in our next session. So, Bob, unless you have something to add, that's a good place to end this session.
Thank you, Victor.
All right, thank you.
That looks a gift for